All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast or our podcast weekend review, where we come to you live. We stream live from Mott Branch Library, and we talk about the things that we've done last week, the things that we got coming up in the future, and hey, some of the things that we're working on right now, which is to give you the month of Juneteenth updates. A couple of weeks ago, everyone had some excellent Juneteenth events, and we want to shout those people out today. And also, we got some special guests to come in a little bit later on and talk about, hey, family, some things that are going on right now and how we're going to address that. So what am I going to do now? What we're going to do, we're going to play our intro video, and we will be right back. This is the CSRN podcast Weekend Review. We'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. Our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the CSRN Podcast Week in Review. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. 9 years ago, they had an idea that ordinary people could speak truth to power. They didn't have to be pastors, politicians, preachers, or professionals. Just know some facts, maybe have a bullhorn or two. And they had what they call Community Solidarity Day. Then they asked me to come in and help organize it and make it an event. And here we are 9 years later, still speaking truth to power. What we're going to do right now. What am I wearing for anyone that's driving? Because we do post this on Spotify. It's on YouTube. So if you're listening to it without video, you might want to ask, well, what does this guy look like? All right, I hear his voice. Well, I'm a brown-skinned man I've got my brown rim glasses on, a black hat. I've got my beads on today. Today I'm wearing a gray and green kind of a sweatshirt type thing. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else, and it's awesome to be with you today. If you notice, I don't have my brother Jody Summers Spoken Truth with me. He's going to chime in virtually later on today, later on in this podcast, and give an update on some of the things that we think you should be concerned about in the community, and he's going to shut it down with 5 minutes of heat. What I want to do right now is read our mission statement, that thing that lets you know who we are and what we're about, and then I will come through with the guiding principles, our Kwanzaa word of the day, and my Black Lives Matter moment. So let's put up the mission statement. Let's see, can we do that? I think we got it up already. All right, this is the CSRN mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustice experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive community-based events to help to foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed, class, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that last quote was our brother, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Let's take down the mission statement. And our Kwanzaa principle for today is Kujishagulia. That means self-determination, and we should be able to define ourselves, name ourselves, and create for ourselves and speak for ourselves. So not only we celebrate Kwanzaa the first 7 days after Christmas, but we lift it up every week so that those principles live, breathe, and are active in our lives every day. My Black Lives Matter moment, what would that be? Well, in 2019, one of our comrades, Anika Fields, had some situations going on in Swanton, and she asked CSRN to come and put a stop to the harassment that she was having in her neighborhood. We had a beautiful gathering at our house, and we did what some call a prayer circle. Guess what? I can't remember what she called those people on her block that were harassing her. Oh man, I'm going to come up with that. I'm going to come up with the name later. But they called the police. So the police came. We're in a prayer circle. The police asked, "What are you guys doing?" Obviously, we're having prayer. However, we didn't stop getting justice for her and many others. So that's my Black Lives Matter moment. We've had plenty of those moments in CSRN, speaking truth to power, showing up at places that others may not want to show up. And it's awesome that we're grassroots, unbossed, unbought. So we don't have a committee meeting to decide what we're going to do. We just do it. So what am I going to do right now? I'm going to put our guiding principles. Let me just go briefly through our guiding principles. And having a grassroots organization or movement, it's really not an organization. We have a lot of personalities, and oftentimes we have to be able to know how not to harm each other, because if so, we'll implode. These are CSRN guiding principles. All Black lives matter: queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently able Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with our special guest, talk about some of the things that CSRN is going to be heavily involved in. Family, this is a CSRN Weekend Review. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. The Joshua Treatment Center offers culturally relevant, inpatient, and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober, safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, we are back. Before we bring in our special guest today, just wanted to give some shout outs and big thanks for some of the organizations and people that have supported over this 9-year period. First, big shout out to the Frederick Douglass Community Center, the board of directors, and our brother executive director, Reggie Williams. Big shout out to the NAACP Toledo branch, because whenever we're having a political forum or really almost anything, we ask for their support, and whatever support that they can give us, they're more than happy to give. A shout out to some of the local pastors too. We go hard on our pastors because I'm part of that faith community, and I know how sometimes we often miss the mark, but there are some local pastors that really rock with us, get down with us. I want to also thank those, the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Mosque No. 91, and all of the support and training that I've received, being an active and registered member of the Nation of Islam, all the training that you might see comes from there. How to talk to people, how to plan, how to keep your word, how to be respectful, understanding the tone of a situation so that we don't go off on emotion and really handicap ourselves. The Padua Center and Sister Virginia Welch, or Sister Jenny, who has been a supporter of CSRN for quite some time, maybe since 2007. All right. See the whole CSRN. Today I'm on a podcast. Looks like I'm by myself, but really represent so many others that help us do this work. To the Toledo Jobs with Justice and everyone there, including Sean Nestor, Lyman Human Up, because that's where I work. And hopefully if they see this, I'll get a raise, because I mentioned our company, and I played our commercial. Center of Hope, and also Center of Hope Church, Mott Branch Library, because that's where we stream live from every week. And big shout out to the staff at Mott Branch Library. Even though behind us you see Black Lives Matter, Justice or Else, and a lot of other that signs that might be controversial. However, when we get to the Mott Branch, or we call it Mott Conda, we get the red, black, and green rug rolled out for us, that we come in and set up how we want and say what we need to say in order for our people to be free. All right. What I want to do right now is go to our first guest. I'm going to bring our sister in. Let's see if the tech team won't mess me up this time. All right. My sister Kawana, how you feeling today? All right. I think we might have to take you off of mute.
I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Hey, listen, thank you for suffering through our opening. That's what we got to do. We got to keep our name out there. We got to keep our brand out there. So we have I don't want to say a lengthy opening, but hey, just in case somebody might tune in, you got to know who we are. All right. So thank you for being patient. Now, one of our CSRN traditions is that we always ask the person who you are. Oh, we also ask, what are you wearing if you were here, so that the people that are listening that may not be watching, and for our people that might have a issue with sight, all right, that they'll be able to say, okay, I can, by what she's saying she looked like and what she's wearing, I can just picture it. All right, I don't know if people picture me like that. If they do, shame on them. All right. So who are you? What are you wearing? And what are we talking about today?
Well, my name is Kawana Hunter. I am currently wearing a blue jean jacket. Oh, and the most important thing is that I am a brown skinned girl. And good evening to everyone. So basically, we're here today to discuss some events going on here in Swanton. Unfortunately, Swanton is not new to the things that goes on out here, but I am new to what goes on here in Swanton. It'll be 5 years that I've been a resident here.
Okay. All right. For you, when did you first start noticing some of the unique things about Swanton? And like you say, nope, it's not new. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could recall, and if you don't mind, when did you first start seeing that, hey, wait a minute, this is different?
I would say it's 2023, so around 2021.
Okay.
It's when I started noticing a few things, and honestly, um, I also noticed, like, when we actually moved here, I actually noticed a few things, um, from the officers to the grocery stores. Um, so yeah, I would honestly say from the moment we actually moved here in Swanton back in 2018.
All right. You know, I realized that I think that was maybe about the time we had started organizing with Anika. And whenever we would drive out, because we used to do patrols too. We had organized some patrols that within her neighborhood that at one point of the day, we would just drive around her neighborhood just in case. And whenever we showed up, there would always be the police car either following us or monitoring. So yeah,
Mhm.
so it's real. So since 2018, you've been feeling some type of way, and I always tell people, trust your feelings. All right, that's going to save your life. All right, trust your feelings. It is what it is. Trust that thing that that anxiety that you feel that something's not right. Um, just recently, some things started happening there. Would you mind sharing whatever you think you can share of the situation that's happening now?
Um, Briefly, it starts with the bullying and inappropriate name calling from the children of the schools.
Okay.
Um, it also revolves around, well, this whole situation is basically around children from middle school to high school. And it involves our brown children and what they have to deal with on a daily basis. And it's starting to manifest itself amongst the children and it's becoming uncontrollable. And pretty much kept on the down low, in my personal opinion, from the staffs of the school, even when it's brought to their attention. The things are still not addressed, and basically, it tends to boil over outside of the school. And once it's outside of the school, then it's out of their hands, and it becomes a public issue, and not necessarily the school's
Right.
responsibility. Yeah, so we had a bullying incident pretty much roll itself over outside of the school into the public park. And it involved my children being called obscene names and basically being pushed on, and they felt the need to defend themselves. And they did what they felt they needed to do. And with that being said, um, several people ended up hurt, some more than others, and the officers focused more on the individual that was hurt than all of the individuals that was involved. Even though my child was hurt, um, they focused more so on the other child
Right.
and just basically brought charges against my two boys and not the individuals that was involved.
Okay. As of right now, how are your boys dealing with that? Because to have charges placed on you and you're young, how are they dealing with that right now? If you don't mind, talking about it.
Um, well, I mean, my children, they're honestly pretty happy, go lucky. They are pretty popular in the neighborhood. Everybody knows them as respectful children. And I mean, they basically just go along with their day. I personally don't think they understand the significance of what's going on around them because they're pretty sheltered children.
Right.
They've never been exposed to anything like this in any community. So they're just children. They are just going along with their regular day and being kids.
Right. So how are they at school? Are they on the, are they on their grades well? Do they get along with other children well? Are they well liked? Um,
Well, starting with my high schooler, he is my honor roll student,
that's right.
and he's 16 years old. He is going to the 11th grade, the start of this school year. Um, my daughter is starting the 8th grade. She is my high honor roll student, and my last son slash nephew.
Right.
He is my merit roll student, and he does really well. He does have some struggles in school with the students um, because he is darker skinned, and that's one of the other issues as well. Because my children are fairly light in color, so we deal with a lot of colorism with the schools, and so they don't tend to bother my biological children as much as they bother um, my adopted baby. So um, he gets the brunt of a lot of the issues in the school. And so he deals with a lot of bullying, and it does affect him. It does affect him in school. It affects his grades to an extent. But we come home and we constantly, when he comes home, we reinforce that positivity with him so that he can go and start his day brand new, just like, every day. Um, and we just continue to talk him through how to manage through everything right now.
All right. My next question, it looked like your son, your daughter, and your son few, your son slash nephew. All right. It is what it is. All right. It seemed like they're very resilient young people. All right. That will show back up the next day and give it all they have. Um, how are you dealing with this? Because this isn't something that happens to everybody every day. All right. So, how are you dealing with all of this?
Well, for me, on a personal basis, it's a struggle. It is stressful because I'm a mother hen. My job is to protect my household in addition to my husband. And it's important for me to make sure that my family has a foundation. And we are a really structured family here. So it's been stressful for me. Because I want what's best for my children and also the other children that's involved as well. Like I want what's best for everybody. So it's been stressful for me.
All right. Now, that's what you say. Well, I was with you yesterday at the city council meeting, and all of us had, an opportunity to speak to the city council or village council, and you handled it. And even though I think you said, well, this is my first time doing this, I'm like, okay, well, I'll go first and, line it up for you. And I hope you do well, man. Now you knocked it out of the park. And really a big shout out to your husband, Ernest, that was there standing with you. When did you know that you were that sister that could speak like that and stand up like that? When did you know you were her? All right.
I knew I was her when I had to be, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
um, y- we all get to a point where, when your hand is forced, we don't know what we're capable of. So I had to be who I needed to be yesterday, and that was what was important to me.
Oh wow. Well, I'm telling you, it was an awesome thing to see. Um, what you said, what you wrote, and what you may have added to it was perfect for that time, because I believe that everyone there needed to hear that, and what they do with that is on them, but they needed to hear that. And listen, Kawana, I want to take a short break. I've got a couple of commercials that I need to show for those that support us. And I want to come back and talk to you about what do you think the next steps should be and what do you do for self-care? All right. So can
Thank
you
you.
hang with us?
Yes, I can.
All right, family, this is the CSRN Weekend Review. We'll be right back.
If you can ride a bike without falling, then you're good to go. Bike Rides Matter, it's a community bike group. We get together for fun, fitness, and fellowship. We ride weekly. Right now we got a Tuesday ride where we ride on the UT Trail. We do Saturday right here at Uptown Green. That's our glow roll Saturday night. It was something I was already doing with my daughter, just riding bikes, and we just decided it would be cool to add the community because we were just finding ways to make fun given the situation. Being that everything was closed down and options were limited, bike riding is one of those things you can do without any restrictions.
You get to make new friends and just like interact with people, especially during COVID. You still like have your mask on and stuff, but it's still good to like see people.
It's a cool way to stay fit. We talk while we riding, we got music while we riding. I've met quite a few new friends and new people. I made some real cool connections throughout the city. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of this pandemic. I know it's a lot of restrictions, but you can be creative and find new ways to have fun, one of which is this right here.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN Weekend Review, our weekly podcast where we come to you live. We're streaming from my branch library where we talk about the things that we've done last week, some of the things that we got coming up in the future, and the things that we got going on right now, which is talk to our sister, Kawana Hunter, and her family and brother Ernest, and what's going on in Swanton. And the short commercial that you saw was our brother Keith Cook, or the comedian Cool Keith. A couple of years ago, right when the pandemic started, Kawana, both him and his daughter Manhattan, they would get together and ride their bikes. Then he had posted on Facebook, hey, look, we riding tonight. And that's when my wife started riding, and she tried to get me to ride. I'm like, no, I'm cool. I got a car. All right. But usually whenever she say we end up doing it. But that's just my little fake fight. All right. Until I end up doing what I'm going to do anyway. And for the last 3 years, Bike Rides Matter has been meeting at Uptown Green every Saturday about 8:30. We ride maybe 7-8 miles through downtown, Old West End, and sometimes over the Cherry Street Bridge or the MLK Bridge, and it's great. So if you got a bike, put some lights on it. People say I got too many lights on mine. Well, that's too bad. So sad. I think I'm gonna get a few more. But it's a great stress reliever, and I push that to the activist culture and the protest community, because often what we do, we're talking about trauma because we're showing up at places where people need us. We're talking about trauma because we're gathering either with our signs or meeting behind closed doors to talk about some serious stuff. But at one point, you need to have some type of outlet, because this can't be my life, all right? That the only thing that's going on is me talking about something wrong. So Bike Rides Matter, taking a walk in the park, find some way to decompress from everyday life is really valuable, not only in the lives of protesters and activists, but everyday people need some way to have a healthy disconnect so that you can get right back the same day. So it's awesome to have Sister Kawana with us. I wanted to ask this question regarding what's happening in Swanton. What do you believe some of the next steps should be, if you don't mind?
In all honesty, I feel like there's some mediation that needs to be done amongst the children as well as the adults. I feel like with how small of a community this is, I'm pretty sure everyone knows most people here.
Right.
But I feel like they should all want to get to know everyone so that it wouldn't be that easy to pass judgment on someone you don't know. So me personally, I felt like um, there needs to be a mediation more so, but amongst the children, so that as the adults, we all can have an understanding of how do we move forward from here? How do we, be what, who our children need to see, so that, it could be, I want to say like a reflection for them. Like they are like sponges. They see what their parents do and they mimic that. So I feel like we need to be the example they need to see.
Right. And I think that something like that can happen because that's what I do. I love to plan events that can foster some type of communication, and we've done that here. I think a few years ago we had an event regarding microaggression, and we had Anika Fields, head that up. We've had different types of workshops, and it might be valuable to have some type of conflict mediation, conflict resolution event vibe type thing, so that people can learn how to de-escalate, so that they can learn that, hey, Swanton is a great chance that you're not the last Black family that's going to move there. All right. And a lot of people know that their population is on the decline, and it's not going to change. So either they're going to have to get with the program, or they're going to be embarrassed by their children, because children mimic what us as adults do. If I don't want my children cussing in Walmart, they hear from me. If they hear how I talk about the other people at the mosque, and they say it out loud, oh man, Yasin, Yusuf, I wish you hadn't said that. Well, you said it at home. You talked
right.
So oftentimes when I worked in prevention, we would say that children are actors, and they tend to act out what they see in us as adults. We may try to blame it on social media. We may try to blame it on pop culture and entertainment. But us as parents are large influence, maybe really the number one influence on the lives of our children. Unfortunately, sometimes we give up that, that leverage to other things, but it's us. So yeah, if something like that could happen, that more families could come out and try their best to meet each other rather than believe everything that you hear, that could also be, a valuable thing. So I look forward to forwarding that conversation, since I'm involved, and I know the family, since I'm involved, I'll be more than willing to forward that type of thing, because that's kind of what I do for a living anyway. Why not do it? And the last thing, in this movement, it would be wise that the people that are educated and have a skill set volunteer their skills for the community, meaning that I can't just be the smartest guy in the world from 9 to 5, and then after 5 o'clock, I just turn it off, knowing that our people are suffering, knowing that they can use that mediation skill or that conflict resolution skill that I do from 9 to 5. But when I get off, I leave it to other people that may not be as well trained and doing that. So my question to you, before we wrap this up, what do you do for self-care? What is it that you do after work? You got children, you got a family, you live in Swanton.
Well, I do a multitude of things. I sing, I cook, I like to read and I like to write. I also bike ride from time to time, and I'm definitely a sightseer. So sometimes I just like to get in my car and I take a long drive up some of those Michigan back roads. We have a lot of those out here in the country. So, yeah, and it's actually peaceful.
You know, I always said that, and I think most people know that I work 2 towns over in Wauseon. All right. And it's just, for anybody that's watching from Wauseon, that's a great town to work in. I just make sure I'm out of there at the end of the day. And one thing about working out there, I don't have to worry about anybody popping up at my job. All right. It's just me in the cornfields, and that's just me in the corn, and that's it. So that does allow me to have some peaceful moments so that I could bring it in. From here, for the people that are watching, I want you to stay tuned because we may have some other things coming up that we're working on right now, Kawana, on deciding what's next. And hopefully next week, we're gonna know what's next. And for everybody that follow our page, that follow this podcast, we're going to be posting some things if it's anything else that we decide to do to kind of push the envelope, because you live there, paying taxes there. All right. So I got to live somewhere, pay taxes and get treated like crap.
Right.
I'm not feeling that. I'm not doing that in Toledo. If I'm a taxpayer, I deserve the best treatment. So if I have to, if law enforcement, if the fire department is involved, hey, I should get the best because I've got some skin in this game as a taxpayer. All right. Hey, listen, we're gonna wrap this up for right now. Before we go, is there anything that you'd like to say to those who are watching this that have children that may be apprehensive about standing up for their children? What are what would be some of the advice that you can give them?
Basically to be who you need to be in the moment for your family.
That's right.
And for yourself. Be who you need to be in that moment, because as a brown Black girl, we are very versatile.
That's right.
And we are a lot tougher than we look. And we was made to wear this skin. So I pray through everything, and I just encourage the next person to pray and be who you need to be.
That's awesome. And hopefully in the near future, we can get you right in here in the studio. We got people walking by looking and saying, who is that? That'd be awesome to get you and our brother Ernest in. I want to thank you, Kawana, for taking the time to be with us today. Would you be willing to come back again and give everyone an update?
I surely will. I look forward to that.
All right. Also, you got them trains in the background too. Hey, listen. Hey, I know where you at. Hey, listen, family, this is the CSRN Week in Review. Thank you, Kawana. We will be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. The program has fatherhood classes, which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do, because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a VU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3, VU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So they showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
Shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
All right, that is Brothers United. And one, I want to thank Kawana Hunter and Ernest Hunter from Swanton for coming in and talking about what's happening in Swanton and some of the steps that they're taking. And we're going to take them along with to help get that resolved. And also big shout out to Anika Fields. She also was with us yesterday at City Council. She posted the whole thing on her page. So if you go to Anika Fields on Facebook, click on, if you're not a friend, you probably end up seeing that video too, regarding what Anika said, what Kawana had to say, and also what what I had to say too. Hey, listen, family, before we get started, I'm expecting Jody to come in virtually and give us some updates on some of the things that's happening and also shut this whole podcast down with 5 minutes of heat. Last time that we were on, we also had our sister Ceedie here to talk about what's happening with our brother Brian. And let me, if I could put that up again. Yeah, we need your support. We need your help. And there's a link to the GoFundMe that we want you to log on. All right, there's right there. What's happening with that family is unheard of. It shouldn't happen. You should be able to engage your own family to keep our son safe. You know that if we don't provide the discipline at home, we can't expect law enforcement to do that. We can't expect anyone else to do that. And that's what this brother was doing. Nothing more than I would do. I've got 2 sons. They're both adults now. However, when they were younger, yes, we had to keep them on the right path. And for someone to see us keeping our children on the right path, that it would result in a husband going to prison is unheard of. And the court system has failed. Of course, the detective was failed miserably. Everybody that was involved just failed this whole family. So there's a GoFundMe. You can go to GoFundMe /CDDCEBF0 and help this family. I got to check with Jody and see if CSRN put something in the GoFundMe. I guess I could just click on the GoFundMe and find out myself, but I'm going to put that on Jody when he gets here. We want to put something on the books to help that family get justice. And we got to do more than just click likes. We got to do more than just say, I support you. We got to do more than just saying, I'm going to pray for you. We also going to have to make it manifest too. So shout out to Ceedie Dotson, Ceedie Chambers Dotson, and her family. Is it Ceedie Dotson Chambers? Oh, let me make sure I'm messing up again. If Jody was, yes, Ceedie Dotson Chambers. That's right. That's my sister. We'll put that on Jody for not reminding me not to make a fool of myself. Hey, family. Before we get Jody on, I wanted to just give some updates. Our month of Juneteenth updates. I'm going to put a couple of events up that I was able to go to, or some of the other members of CSRN were able to go to. First, I want to shout out the Omega Sci-Fi Incorporated of Toledo, Ohio. They had Juneteenth 2023 Community Health and Wellness Fair. This was Saturday, June 17th at Martin Luther King Academy, and that's an all-boys school. They had an awesome event. There was blood pressure, blood sugar checks, oral cancer screening, free mammograms. And brothers, we definitely need to get checked out. And a big shout out to Richard Langford and all the Q Dogs for making that happen. It's awesome that we're able to really have Juneteenth and make it whatever we want, all right, to suit who we are. There was something else I wanted to put up there. There was also the Frederick Douglass. I had checked in with Reggie Williams and the board at their Juneteenth celebrating freedom. That was also on the 17th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We really showed out that day. Really, there was games, food trucks, live music. There was everything that you could want from a Juneteenth event was there. So a big shout out to everybody that came to Juneteenth. And there was another sister there. I think her father owns the 329 salon that's on Monroe. I hope I'm saying that name right. If I'm not, somebody will correct me. And his daughter was there, and his daughter has her own business. That family, I'm gonna stop in and see Doug. I think that's the brother's name that owns the salon. Man, that family is the GOAT. All right. So big shout out to the Frederick Douglass for doing their thing with celebrating Juneteenth. Another shout out is for the NAACP Toledo chapter. They had the Juneteenth celebration and job fair at the main library. And this means that whatever you think our community needs, it can be addressed during Juneteenth. So we not only had some live music and games, we also had a health fair. We all and the NAACP Toledo chapter, Toledo branch. Did I say chapter? I know they're gonna come at me. Hey, y'all can come at me because I'm a member. All right, I could mess it up if I want. And one day I'm gonna show my my new NAACP card that I got. So hey, they can't say nothing because I'm a member. They had the one-stop resume shop, the Level Up Your Career workshop, the Lisa's Closet workshop, and that was also on June 17th. That was from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. NAACP Toledo branch, not chapter, but I can mess it up because I'm a member, card carrying member. All right, so shout out to the NAACP for that. Next, I want to shout out the Juneteenth celebration. I think maybe back in 2019, I think they had the first, because I think this is the fourth, and I think that same year, CSRN and the Doug, we collaborated along with Alexia Sims, collaborated for the Doug. But at the same time, there was something going down at Walbridge Park. So even though I'm at the Frederick Douglass Juneteenth, I'm going through my news feed and it just looks beautiful. They were by the water, so much blackness, so much melanin dripping everywhere. And Sister Shanique, brother Ramon, I hope I got his name right. All right. They were celebrating heritage, culture. They had the 5K run, walk to, so I will be walking with the Toledo Road Runners. They had the Sax Fifth Music, Distant Cousins. They had a lot of awesome sponsors that helped them make it happen. Man, everything was awesome there. And Brother Jody Summers helped to be there for that. And hopefully he'll have a report back to us. What I want to shout out next is the Junction Coalition. If you check out your community market on the corner of Nebraska and Pulaski, this is a brother named Mustafa Shahir, and he's had this store there for years. There's no alcohol or cigarettes or anything like that, and it was kind of just plain red on the outside store. The Junction Coalition, along with others, did a beautiful job in organizing that building to get painted. So shout out to the Junction Coalition. I think we got Jody in the green room. I hope you just can chill for 1 second, Jody. I'm going to get right to you. I'm trying to give our people their flowers while they're still here. I also want to shout out to Community United. That's Brother Gutter Dave, Alexia Sims, and others that organized the Juneteenth parade and ceremony. This is the second annual. I was able to line up. I had my bike and my bullhorn, so that was excellent. Our young people are definitely the ones that's going to take this to the next level. And whatever we could do at CSRN to assist the youth that are organizing now in their own way, we're going to do it. So great job, Alexia. Great job, Gutter Dave. And also on that same day, or maybe the day before, they raised the red, black, and green flag at Government Center. And shout out to CSRN. They said, hey, listen, Washington, we need the flag. Bro, where you at? All right, we ain't got to meet with a committee. We ain't got to hem and haw. Wherever you at, we'll bring it. Bad boy up there. So go downtown now before the end of June. I think you're taking it down at the end of June. but go down there, take a picture of it. It's right there, Government Center. So big shout out to Community United. And lastly, and we're going to bring our brother Jody on, is the celebration of Black Kings. This was Monday, June 19th. This was held at the Toledo Club. And there are about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, maybe 40 brothers that were recognized for the work that they do in the community. I was one of them, and it was awesome to stand next to Coach Bates, John Hobbs, Chief Brian Bird, David Young, Reggie Williams. I was with everybody that I could have borrowed $20 from. So if I would have been thinking, I could have came up that night. So big shout out to Kathleen Greeley and everybody with the Juneteenth program and the community program that put this together. I look forward to bringing some of those awardees on the podcast to talk about their award and what they do in the community to make it happen. All right. So shout out to all of them. Hey, listen, that's enough of that. Let's bring in our brother Jody Summers, Spoken Truth, Child of the System, and all those other names that he has, because one of his pronouns is we. All right. Am I right, Jody?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to make it so y'all don't get this like bright sun. I guess I have to use my head as coverage. Yeah. We is one of them. Him, he, we being the multiple organizations and companies and boards and stuff that I run unbiasedly. So it means that if I hear something with this board and they may not like what this board is doing, I have to remain neutral. That's the we that is able to work between hip hop shows, reggae shows, art shows, community events, political people, and don't vote, August and stuff. And then the activist group, which is like, screw all of them, let them burn. So somewhere in the middle is that we of unity.
I'm the let it burn guy. All right.
Well, I'm all of that. I heard you talking, and I walked by there yesterday after work. Our flag is not there. The pride flag is there, but our flag is not there.
Okay, that may have been just for the June.
Just for the day. I concede that we'll talk later on that stuff. But hopefully I haven't missed too much because, kitchen gear and stuff, worker shortage and all those things. I do work in the kitchen and that's my Clark Kent. So, I'm here sometimes, and sometimes I'm at the show, and sometimes you might see me in another state or getting an award or opening something, but, stuff. I can't get rid of these little lights. There we go. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
All right. What were some of the events that you were involved in, and what do we got for 5 minutes of heat?
For 5 minutes of heat, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna flip through book number 3, technically 2, depending on how you look at it, or 5. Anyway, flip through there and find one, so that way I'm not constantly repeating the same 200 poems. And I know it's not constantly repeating, but I don't know. I have a thing of once I say it once, I don't want to keep repeating it because then it's just like forcing you to hear something you may not want to hear, all that good stuff. For everybody out there, we back again because last week we wasn't. Last week was Juneteenth week, technically. And after all of that celebration and love and blackness, we needed some time off. So that's why me and Brother Washington wasn't here last week. For those of you that don't know me, I am Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, the wonderful treasurer of this organization that makes sure our books are balanced. We don't take blood money. We don't take offers. We don't throw people under the bus and stuff like that, and do it all with a good smile, unless you see my teeth.
That's right.
But there's in between our last show and this show, a lot of stuff happened. I performed 3 times on Broadway. Okay, that is kind of a pun, but technically I was on Broadway because we have 2 different Broadways in Toledo. So I was at the Danny Thomas Park with Dee Brown, and she had the fundraiser for Be Instrumental. That was on, what was that? That was on a Saturday. Before that, on a Thursday, before the show and all that good stuff, I was at the Entrepreneurs Club with Keisha Renee or Kay Renee. I was the feature over there for their open mic. I think that's my last open mic I've done everywhere in Toledo and around in the past 6 months. But after Be Instrumental on that Sunday, I was at two different places. Was that Sunday? Yeah, because Be Instrumental event, and this is, lots of events, lots of stuff to doing. So Be Instrumental, after that, I went to the Giggle Jam, which was hosted by Vanessa Williams, who did the food truck that goes around, but it's not a food truck, it's actually a convenience store. She's actually shutting that down for the season. But she did let us, a whole bunch of artists, we went up to the Code and performed. I sold art, I sold books. I got to perform another full set on that Monday. Yes, Juneteenth. Also, I want to say, because it has not been said enough this month, and I keep hearing everything else but that, happy Men's Mental Health Month. I said it slow because, I want that to stick in your head. We only got a couple days left. Then it's throw us under the bus. Also, happy belated Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. Even if it's an adopted father or stepfather, you got a plant, you still take care of something. You still need your flowers just like women do in May. And also happy, of course, Juneteenth, the celebration of our freedom, our flag, the colors you always see me wearing in some combination that's in my art. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see the phone and not get y'all in the blinky lights here. Maybe I should just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't get the blinky lights away, but it is what it is. Juneteenth, thanks to the Juneteenth, because we actually have an LLC organization here that does Juneteenth. We were at Wallbridge. There was a whole bunch of celebrations going on. Unfortunately, you kind of see how my week was jumbled up between 7 events, 5 different performances. So I couldn't make everything, but I did see it. That was awesome to see our flag raised, and whether it's still not there or not, that's okay. It went up twice this year, so that's a bonus, that's a plus. Normally it's just up from February to the end of February. So shout out to Gutter Dave, Lexia Sims, the Doug, and like 5 other organizations that made sure some part of the city had their own personal Juneteenth, because I believe it is good to have multiple things around. Yes, it's nice to have one big centralized organization or congregation, but some people got walkers. Some people ain't got transportation. Some people would like to see people they know at the event on their side of town. So I thank everybody for making sure that every piece of Toledo got to celebrate Juneteenth in their own special way. I think even I believe it was Antoine, he did something the day before Juneteenth for fathers only. And that was awesome. The park looked clean. Juneteenth went awesome. We had a whole bunch of vendors. We had saxophone players. There was the 5K run. I'm still putting the reel together from that last week. It'll be out eventually at some point in time, maybe. But yeah, it was beautiful. We did fireworks like we do every year. Lots of people had stuff going on. So yeah, that was kind of my events in Juneteenth. Shout out to Sonia Vermel. I was at her private birthday party at Toll House a couple days ago, and that was beautiful. Also, I learned some stuff before. I think it's okay to say now on social media. Congratulations to Will Lucas on all your achievements and the things that you're doing in the city. It is great to see people who look like me and don't have to portray some type of stereotype to get things accomplished.
That's right.
I think that's mostly all the things. In between there is probably on my page. Again, now it's algorithms and stuff, but it's intuitive. If you don't know where someone's at, you ain't got a lot of friends, type into your social media, whatever platform you're using, events. A lot of people have gone with the making sure their event is, if it doesn't have an Eventbrite, it's got some other form of app and Facebook. So if you're confused about what's going on in the city, check. I watch the news, don't read the newspaper, but yet I keep winding up in there for something, and I don't know what, because people's like, I saw you in the news. And I'm like, oh yeah, what channel? That one with the numbers.
I think that's all of them. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm other than that, I'm trying to take this next 6 months and kind of rest. Done over 6,000 poems. I'm 3-time nominated again to go back to Chicago. I'm doing a lot of good stuff in the community, more of it behind the scenes instead of front of the scenes. We do have Hoodstock coming up July 31st, so that's going to be a big one. That's going to be at Wallbridge. The 21st, I'm hosting a show, a retro hip hop show. You might actually want to come to that. Bring Jerry Curl out and stuff.
Hey, okay, all right. Yes,
But
sir.
that's going to be at the docks, which last year when I went to Annika Woods and I ran up with one of the former owners, I said I would be hosting a show there. So thanks to my dude, DJ Dankish, who used to DJ for Gangsta Boo, I'm doing a show on the 21st with King Black.
All right.
So that and kind of the good news keeps pouring. It just proves dedication and stuff. A few months ago, I applied to our wonderful art museum, and I was told, because you go through all those answers and questions and what do you want to do in 5 years and 10 years. And when I came to 10 years and I told them I would have an exhibit, it was like, you know how many people have an exhibit, want to have an exhibit in this museum and blah, blah, blah. And I just smiled, like, yeah, cool. I'm going to have an exhibit. So I got an email the other day on my words from a quote, the voice changing voices or something. That I went there MLK Day and was approached by a lady with another guy, and they wanted to see how I felt about what the art museum was providing, what it's doing in our community. And me being me, I said, hey, let's do this interview. Let me talk and say how I really feel. So I mentioned to Kehinde Wiley and how that made us feel and stuff as a community with art. And since my words are my art form, and if you read my words in my voice, my exhibit is in the art museum. My words, a photo, and I think they said some of the recording that we took is going to be in the art museum. So yeah. Nothing left to do but write a play and perform at the Valentine.
Right. Well, that's on the way. All right. That's on the way. Hey, listen, before they start flicking the lights on and off here, I know that you said you were unsure what we're going to do for 5 minutes of heat. So we're going to just flip through the page there. What about that page right there?
Okay. So this is an interesting one. It's one from the first time I wanted to describe what I was doing as a poet. It's called The Stage.
Oh, that's all. That's dope.
It's one of the first 5 I memorized, published September 8th, 2015. I'm going to read it from the book instead of performing, which is something I never do. But, sometimes you need to change on those skill sets, because I could perform like the Apollo. I could read to children. I could read to adults. I could slam, but I could also read to someone who's never met my force before. So I'm going to try and read this and not perform this for everybody out there. And as always, thank you guys for continuing to watch week after week. This is almost 9 years of hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, nose, go away. You can't do this. It'll never happen. And we did.
That's right.
So this stage, let's begin. Peace. This stage that has given me the floor has seen many wonders, oh yes, many wonders, only performers such as I, yes, I know for sure. From that nervous comedian that talks about their life and wants to bring a smile, or yes, a smile into someone else's night. Even though their life is filled with grief and strife, all it takes is your applause and laughter to help them ease their night. This stage is for that rap, pop, R&B, hip hop, indie, gospel, blues, jazz vocalist who hopes their voice won't crack. before they leave the mic and cause the audience to snap, just like your mama's back. This stage can bring a crowd to tears and cheers, watching actors such as I reinvent, fine-tune, and create simple words, yes, simple words that were put up on our plate. So we put on a show, we put on a show that is sure to please the ticket gate. This stage will bend and creak under dancers' limbs whose guts are in a knot, knowing this might be their only shot. So they give it, yes, they give it all they got. This stage is for that awkward kid in school who might have been picked on a time or two, but once they learn prestidigitation, sleight of hand, and a few magic tricks or two, everyone, yes, everyone thought they were cool. This stage is for those of us that have beauty, yes, beauty in our minds. So we transcribe it to the world in glass, portrait, art, and print. Yes, print, to get it out of our minds. This stage is for those chosen few who need no mic, no lights, nor a huge crowd to seduce. For our words, yes, our words are spoken, yes, spoken to keep you in tune with the tragic and beautiful life that we go through. This stage is for that seasoned vet, yes, that seasoned vet whose life was no longer the same the day they took the crowd and made them, yes, made them say their name. Let me hear it one time. And that rookie who's tried everything else, but this final, yes, this final test of themselves. This stage is not just performance, inspiration, or notches, yes, notches in our belt. It is our very life, blood, and soul, yes, soul, that we give to you, the audience, because you could be, yes, you could be any place else. That's the book it comes from, Child of the Tears of the Wounded. The second, it's kind of shiny right now, but that's the, dang it, why is it so shiny? Okay, you know what? Okay. It's the Child of the System, Spoken Truth, the second book of Tears of the Wounded. One left to complete on that series, but if you want to hear that in multiple forms over the years, go to my YouTube, click on that stuff, which is a good segue for us to talk about our next thing, or go on Amazon, get the book, meet me in public, get a signature, get to autograph the main book, all of that good stuff.
All right. And as always, for anybody that's watching this, go to our YouTube and subscribe, like, and share. You can find us on YouTube at Community Solidarity. Put that in the search. It'll come up. If you want to support us, you can support us via Cash App, hashtag CSRN419, or PayPal CSRN419. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Listen to us on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube and tweet us on Twitter. I guess, hey, family, we still have the Black Lives Matter signs. We still got defund the police signs. Yep, we're still on that. And coming soon are the CSRN signs. That's still a work in progress. Still a work in progress, you know.
We're going to get it, though.
Yes, sir. And as always, Jody, all lives can't matter until what?
Black Lives Matter.
And Black lives can't matter until
all Black lives matter.
Justice or else?
Yay, yay.
Peace.